What's good, everybody? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson back at it again with another YouTube collaboration here on the King Gunna YouTube channel. I want to let everybody know I definitely appreciate you for subscribing to the channel, and I'm so glad to introduce a brother that's inspiring me from my hometown. I will look at him as my Pan-African big bro. He is my Pan-African mentor. I don't really like him that much, but he has really influenced me in my life. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be on the path that I'm on today. But go ahead, brother. Let them know who you are, family.
Well, O'Shea Duke Jackson, thank you so much for having me. And see, we're from the same hometown, but I'm from South Sacramento. He's from North Sacramento. So that's why O'Shea is so damn weird. I mean, he's a weirdo. You know, that's why he's strange, because he's from the north side of town, on the other side of the track. So that's why he's weird. So we're from the same town, but we're not really from the same town, because he's from another part of town that, you know. Yeah, but I'm Prince Dynasty Mir. I have a platform. I run a platform called In Search of Uhuru. What we're doing, we're building a bridge between the diaspora and Africa. So that's what we do over at In Search of Uhuru.
All right, and brother, I want to again, you hating on the heights. I really want to thank you for bringing together so many people from the Nigerian community, from other parts of the diaspora, brothers from Haiti. You do a lot of great work and build a lot of community around your content. You've done tours, you've done some amazing things. You really make Sacramento look good, and so I really want to give you your props while you're still here, brother. You've been telling me when I started going to Africa. I remember when I first started watching, when I found out who you actually were again, because I was like, oh, that's I know him, and because we're from the same town. And I looked that you first started going to Tanzania. That was first, and then you went to Namibia, right. Africa. You kind of started off to East Africa, and then once you shifted to West Africa, I don't know if your first West Africa was it Ghana?
Senegal,
that's right. Okay. What was so? Because we're going to get into the West Africa versus East Africa. What is so different from you? Because you've been in so many places, brother. What is so different with West Africa versus Southern Africa or East Africa?
I would say, not to offend anybody, I would say the culture. I would say when you're dealing with East Africa, whether it be Kenya, Tanzania, then if you go into South Africa, if you go into Namibia, I would say the culture. I would say, especially Kenya, Tanzania, I would say that they're definitely more British influence, if that makes sense. So me personally, like I said, Tanzania was the first country I went to in Africa, but East Africa is more British, still more British influence. But when I finally went to West Africa, and I went to first country I went to was Senegal, followed by Mali, I really got that the Africa feel, if that makes sense. I know that's vague and abstract, but I really got that, like, this is Africa for me. This is home. Like, this is where my ancestors came from. I felt more of a connection, not only on a, of course, physical level, but on a spiritual level. I felt like, okay, I'm more connected with West Africa because that's where we came from, for the most part. So West Africa has definitely been more of a fit for me than East Africa. But for you or for other people, East Africa might be more of a fit. So it really just depends on, I encourage people to travel to as many countries as possible. Start with the English-speaking countries, because, the majority of us don't speak more than one language. So start with the English-speaking countries, and start off with your Kenya, your Tanzanias, your Nigerias, your Gambias, your Sierra Leone, Liberia, which are two countries that Black people, especially Black Americans, are sleeping on. That's Liberia and Sierra Leone, especially when you deal with the history. I mean, Liberia and Sierra Leone were established by free slaves, by Black Americans, but we skipped over those two countries for some reason. So, I would definitely start off with those two countries. And then if you want to go check out East Africa, go check out your also Nigeria. You can't sleep on Nigeria. That's the largest Black country on the planet. And then if you want to check out Kenya, Tanzania, then make a decision from there.
Now you mentioned two countries. It's going to lead into what we're talking about today: Sierra Leone and Liberia. Especially Liberia with you have some of the African Americans over there, some of the British blacks over there, Caribbean blacks that kind of started that country. You said that those two countries, even though we have a close relationship with those two countries, with culture and genetics, we tend to sleep on the Liberias and the Sierra Leones. Why do you think that's the case?
I think because of the negative connotation that comes with Liberia and Sierra Leone. So, Liberia was founded January 5th, 1822 by free Black Americans who wanted to escape the racial terrorism here in America. They didn't see a future here in America, so they went to Liberia. And then when you're dealing with Sierra Leone with Freetown, the first black group of black people that settled in Freetown were the black poor, who were the free black slaves from in Britain. And then you had the black loyalists. So after the Revolutionary War, the war between Britain and America, Britain promised black slaves here in America that, hey, you fight on our side, we win, or just fight on our side, period. We'll give you freedom. So after the war, Britain lost. Those black Americans went to Nova Scotia. Obviously, Nova Scotia is ice. So they're like, why the hell are we here? It's ice. And then they went to Sierra Leone. So there's a close history when it comes to Liberia, Sierra Leone, and its foundation and Black Americans. I think the reason why there's such a negative connotation when it comes to Liberia specifically is I would say the misinformation that's put out in regards to the role that Black Americans played in establishing that country. We hear this narrative that, okay, these Negroes came, they brought their white man mindset, and they enslaved the natives and all this other stuff. But that's just, I think the issue with that narrative is both sides of the story is not told. So what we're told is that these Black Americans showed up, I believe January 5th, 1822, Providence Island, was President David Monrovia. They showed up, they enslaved the natives, they brought their white man mindset and all this other, it's a lot of misinformation. But what's not fair is like both sides of the story isn't told. So just like all over West Africa, you had Africans who have sold out to white people, who are participating in the slave trade, who are selling other Africans to white people for muskets, umbrellas, rum, gin, trinkets. That was going on in Liberia as well. So imagine these free Black Americans who are just coming out of slavery, they show up to Liberia, and you have the local Liberians participating in the slave trade, cutting deals with white people, treaties that were formed between the indigenous population and the Americo-Liberians. They were breaking those treaties. There are a number of occasions where the indigenous or local population were breaking those treaties as well. So this is some of the adversity that the Americo-Liberians faced when they came to Liberia, that no one tells that side of the story. They just say, hey, these African Americans with the white man's mindset showed up to Liberia and enslaved the natives and all this other misinformation. And when you ask, okay, show proof of this enslaving going on, they can't show it to you. We have to understand when it comes to Freetown or when it comes to Sierra Leone, when it comes to Liberia, these were some of the first, and not the first, abolitionists. So they weren't participating in the slave trade. And again, it's just not saying that the miracles are perfect. I'm not saying that. But I think it's a disservice, especially when it comes to Black American history, because so-called ADOS or FBA, whatever you want to call yourself, like that's part of your history. You took the initiative to leave America, to bootstrap. All right. You took the initiative to escape the racial terrorism here in America to take control of your own destiny in Liberia. I mean, that's something that should be celebrated. And I'm not saying the Americans are perfect. I'm not saying that. But I just feel as if the narrative that's shared, you don't hear it from both sides. So people, especially when you're in this Pan-African circle, they demonize the American Liberians, but American Liberians should be celebrated. And again, they're not perfect. They're definitely at fault. In some cases, in some instances, they're definitely again weren't perfect. But I just think what's not fair the full both sides of the stories I told in regards to the adversity that they face when they arrive. So
okay. Let me ask you this, because in knowing what you just broken down for Sierra Leone and Liberia, you make a really good argument, because one of our a brother that I met on your channel was named Amin Ra.
Right.
And through him, I was able to collaborate with him a few times. He's a very hilarious guy. I used to like mess with him on Facebook and stuff. Yeah, unfortunately, he passed around I want to say almost around this time last year. I think it was February this time last year. And he had been living in Mombasa, Kenya, for going on 20 years. And whenever we would ask him about citizenship, it would be kind of this question or an excuse, or I don't really need citizenship, and he didn't really like. He was always he was a little bit pejorative towards West Africa, Ghana in particular. And when you see a lot of African Americans, a lot of African Americans are going to Rwanda. That seems to be a hot spot. Tanzania is probably one of the hottest spots now.
Right.
And then when you look at any African Americans, do they ever get citizenship in those countries?
No.
It's no, right? And you always bring up that point. Why are African Americans traveling to East Africa and not West Africa when you're able to get citizenship, and you have gotten citizenship not only in Nigeria but Sierra Leone? What is West Africa offering the African American population and some of the brothers that are coming from the Caribbean diaspora that East Africa isn't offering?
Well, for example, Sierra Leone. Here's my Sierra Leone passport right here. So with Sierra Leone, if you take in a DNA test, from my understanding, through African ancestry, people have been asking me, "Hey, Dynas, what about 23andMe? What about Ancestry.com?" I don't know. I know for a fact, African ancestry. If you take a DNA test, and if one of your on either your maternal or your paternal, if one of the results come back and it's from a tribe in Sierra Leone, whether it be Mende, Creole, Timne, Fula, you're eligible for citizenship. They're not offering that anywhere in East Africa. They're not offering any of that in South Africa. I just, the first time I went to Africa, the first time I heard the term repatriation, I thought, okay, when you repatriate, you go to a country in Africa and you get your citizenship. But then I started hearing these stories of people living in these countries 15, 20 years, not having citizenship, and then trying to say that, hey, citizenship is not important, which is crazy, because in some countries, you can't own land, you can't vote unless you have citizenship.
Okay.
So I mean, to me, it was just ridiculous when I would hear these people saying that citizenship is not important in Africa. And again, I just assumed when you repatriated that you got citizenship. I just assumed that. But then I was running I would say 99.99999% of the people who I knew who relocated to Africa didn't have citizenship. I just thought that was crazy. And this isn't just Kenya or Tanzania. This is also West Africa. This was also Ghana before last year they gave a number of African Americans or the diaspora citizenship. But again, a number of those people who are in that group have been living in Ghana for like 15, 20 plus years. So there are exceptions in each country and on how you can gain citizenship. So, but Sierra Leone is the only country that has created something that's, I mean, pretty much clear, like clear. Look, if you can prove that you are a descendant from one of these tribes, several tribes in Sierra Leone, you are eligible for citizenship. Like no other country is offering that. So when we deal with East Africa, whether it be like for example Tanzania, you can have dual citizenship. So even if you're eligible for Tanzanian citizenship, you're gonna have to get rid of your U.S. passport.
Right.
Kenya, I mean, I'm sorry, none of us are descendants from Kenyans. You know, so I don't know how that argument will work in regards to, because in West Africa, you at least have an argument like, look here, my ancestors came from here. I don't know how that argument could work in a place like Kenya or in Uganda or any of the East African countries outside of, I think some of us came from Mozambique, which is more East Africa geography. Okay. Yeah,
Mozambique is in South Africa.
Well, near South Africa, right. Yeah. So, but as far as East Africa goes, Kenya, Tanzania, if like citizenship is important to you, if ownership is important, because even in Kenya and Tanzania, from understanding, if you're not a citizen, you can't own land. Maybe you could, from understanding in Tanzania, you can open up a business and maybe own land under your business. But it's just, to me, if you're trying to gain citizenship, I think West Africa is the first place to start if that is important to you. Because again, ownership's important to me. Okay. So owning land, not leasing land, is important to me. Now, in certain countries like Ghana, I want to say the maximum, I say you could lease land for up to 99 years, but that's if you're a citizen. If you're not a citizen, I think it's like 30 years. So, it doesn't make sense to uproot yourself, relocate to a country, and then not want citizenship or not demand the same rights in that country as if you were a local or a native of that country. Also, too, with your ECOWAS passport, I can now travel all through West Africa. 15 countries, I believe it, 13 or 15 countries, visa free. So, for example, before I had my Nigerian passport and before I had my Sierra Leonean passport, I had my American passport. So the only countries in West Africa where you could travel visa free is Senegal, Gambia. I think there's one more, or get at least visa on arrival. You have Senegal, you have Gambia, and Togo. The other countries, you got to get a visa. So it was a process. You got to mail your passport off to the embassy here in America, make sure it gets back in time, pay, anywhere from $100 to $200 for a visa. And you have to repeat this process every 2 years. And to me, that's just a hassle. Or, if you're traveling by road, you got to get your visa at the border, which sometimes can be a hassle. But when you have your ECOWAS passport, you just go right through. So again, for somebody who's relocated, who's living in Africa, specifically West Africa, it doesn't make sense on how some people say, citizenship or passport is not important. I'm like, well, if you're going to uproot yourself to an African country, I would think you would want all the benefits that comes with living in that country. So that's why it's important.
Let me kind of go back to this because Sierra Leone, because most countries even require, like Ghana, for an example. I know it's in West Africa, but I think like to start a business in Ghana, I think the assets need to be, if I'm not mistaken, like $500,000, right?
It depends on the business. There's ways to circumvent that from what I understand. So number one, for the most part, in the majority of countries in Africa, outside of the francophone countries, the French-speaking countries, you have to have a local. You have to partner with a local. So you have to have a business partner who's a local, which I understand, because you don't want these foreigners coming in and creating a monopoly. And then number two, depending. See, Ghana, I think there's a way around that, the whole $500,000 thing. I think there's a way around it, a legal way around it. Now, like in Sierra Leone, you start your business, you have to have board members, you pay the fees, and that's it. Nigeria, similar. You pay the fees, that's it. Ghana, from understanding, is more complicated. I have businesses in Nigeria and in Sierra Leone that I formed. But is easier from my understanding in the French-speaking country. So I'm possibly going to form a business in Senegal, and for the most part, you just got to go to their incorporation place, fill out some paperwork, have a local address, which I'll use my friend's address, and that's it.
But let me ask you this though, because the point I want to get to is, I know in Uganda, Kenya, it's like $100,000, depending on what it is, but $100,000 versus possibly in Ghana, 500,000. But you're telling me that if you get citizenship in Sierra Leone, you don't have to. If you get the citizenship, then that window, that amount of money's out the door now, right?
Well, even if you don't have citizenship, as long as you, so like countries like Gambia, countries like Sierra Leone, I want to say even Liberia, maybe to hold me to it, Nigeria, you don't have to have these large amounts of, I guess, equity. I think it is, or I think it's equity. Not so like with Ghana, it isn't like you have to have $500,000 in cash. I think it's more equity. I forgot. Don't hold me to it. But it's just in other countries, it's not like that. So that's another thing. When you're thinking about relocating to a country, ease to start a business, ease to open up a business. You know, that's important as well. So I think for a lot of us, and I was like this too, O'Shea, for many of us coming from the diaspora to Africa, we look at it more on an emotional level versus, okay, what makes more business sense, or what's easier for me to truly integrate and get started versus an emotional level. So I think that's the problem. That's why I tell people, travel to at least 5-6 countries. I know you're emotional. I know the ancestors have called you home, and you know that's fine. But travel to at least 5 different countries. Find out how is it to do business. What's the process to get citizenship, and then decide from there. That's my advice.
Okay. Now let me go this, because I know like in Uganda, in East Africa, it's a lot more difficult to get citizenship. You know, you have to marry someone. But Sierra Leone, they have rolled out this opportunity for the diaspora. What are the opportunities? Because you know, people don't know a lot about Sierra Leone. People really didn't know a lot about, like, you know, a lot of countries in West Africa, but a lot is not known about Sierra Leone. What are some of the challenges that are there for people who, let's say, if they can gain citizenship, and what are some of the opportunities? Because you've been going there quite frequently. What are some of the opportunities in comparisons to, you know, you also have Nigerian citizenship, and if you had to pick between staying in one country or the other?
No, I'm setting up in both.
Okay. What are some of the challenges in Sierra Leone that you wouldn't that are opportunities rather for people who can prove citizenship in this country?
Me personally, I'm gonna be focusing more on tourism. So I'm gonna be focusing on tourism. So tourism, real estate, and media. Those are like the 3 areas that I'm gonna be focusing on. With that being said, tour Sierra Leone. We're going to be celebrating Sierra Leonean independence. It's going to be the 60-year anniversary that they were separated or claimed independence from Britain. We're leaving April 20th, returning on the 29th. So April 20th through the 29th, arrive in Sierra Leone April 21st, leave April 29th, tour, go to searchforuhuru.com. Again, go to searchforuhuru.com. Hit me up for more details. So we're doing a tour. I'm hosting a tour in Sierra Leone end of April. So if you're interested in traveling and going, let me know. But me, I'm going to focus primarily, I'm starting off with tourism. I would say this, Sierra Leone by far, you know, I've been to Zanzibar, I've been to Cape Town, South Africa. Sierra Leone by far the most beautiful, or Freetown, the most beautiful country I've ever, the city, country I've ever, Sierra Leone, Freetown, the most beautiful city, most beautiful country I've ever stepped foot on. So there are a lot of opportunities in tourism, especially when you're dealing with hospitality. So that's going to be my first primary focus, along with the media portion. So I think that's because, I mean, the beaches are beautiful. You're talking about blue water, white sand, and then you have the green mountains that just, oh man, it's just, Sierra Leone is just gorgeous. So, people are sleeping on Sierra Leone. So my focus primarily starting off is going to be in tourism.
Let me ask you this: for some of the people who are interested in some of the other parts, because I know, shout out to Dr. Harnett. She was the first person that I saw that was really pushing agribusiness in Africa, and I used to think like how much of a joke that was coming from the West. But then I realized when I was in Uganda, like agribusiness is really the future. The continent is important in a lot of things, and I've been pushing that also on my channel. What are the opportunities that from what you've seen, and just in Sierra Leone with agribusiness or things like that? Do you think that those, for a person that wants to become an entrepreneur, do you think that the markets could sustain a person in Sierra Leone for the right thing?
Yeah, I think the markets can sustain anyone anywhere if you're doing the right thing. And it's crazy. So I have my degree's in agricultural business from the University of Georgia. But I can't tell you much about agriculture because out of college I went into sales. So I've never been in the ag related field as far as my career. So the opportunity is there, but right now I wouldn't be able to tell you much about agricultural and as far as the business opportunities, but they're there. I know they're there. But if you want to deal with Nigeria, from understanding, snail farms is where it's at.
Yeah, I heard that too. I heard that is really good. Yeah. Let's talk about some of the challenges, because I know that you've been there. One thing I like about Kenya, obviously, in the business that we do, one thing I know is if I go to Nairobi, I can set up shop. I can hook up with African Traveler. I can hook up with African Superstar, not African. She's been King sometime, but I'm talking about African Tigress. I know they have good infrastructure. If you want to do a business that we're doing right now, Uganda, I have Zuku Fiber at my place. I can continue to still doing the same business that I'm in now. But Sierra Leone, and as far as the internet and things like that, and rent prices, because obviously West Africa is more expensive typically. I was talking to Roy the Earator the other day, in some parts of $2,000 a month, $1,500 a month is not uncommon in Monrovia.
Depends how you live.
Yeah, it depends on where you live. But if you want something that's decent, whereas in Kenya, Nairobi, $300-400 a month is much different. Tanzania, the same thing, right? It's much cheaper. How expensive does it cost for a person to live in Sierra Leone? Because a lot of brothers are moving, sisters are moving to places they can afford, like Gambia. People know it's cheap, right? Kenya tends to be a little bit cheaper. West Africa is known to be a lot more expensive to live than East Africa. What would you say about the cost of living in Sierra Leone?
From my understanding, $600-700 a month. Is you can find something relatively nice. And then as far as the internet goes, from what I've been told, to get the top of the line internet, it's going to cost you about $100 a month, $100-120 a month, from my understanding. So you can function the way we do over here, for the most part. But I think the country that people are sleeping on when it comes to affordability is Nigeria. I mean, you could get a nice apartment for the year for like $2,500 to $3,000 for the year in Nigeria. So I think depending where, but you get that find that in Lagos as well. So I think Nigeria is the country that a lot of people are sleeping on when it comes to affordability. Now you're going to need a generator, but when it comes to affordability, a lot of people are sleeping on Nigeria. But they have your something that's comparable to how you're living in the West in Sierra Leone. You're looking at $700 a month. And then plus internet, that's about an extra 100, 120. So, that's what you're looking at.
Okay, okay. And so your argument always pretty good. That we should look, we could get the DNA test, go to Sierra Leone, see if we can get citizenship. You can travel through ECOWAS, visa free. What's the process? Let's say for you do your DNA test, you do find out that you do have some Sierra Leonean ties. What is the process to go forward to obtain citizenship?
Right. So my process, AfricanAncestry.com, took a DNA test. On my mother's side, it came back Mende, Sierra Leone. That was back in 2013. So then I think the first person was Isaiah Washington, the actor. He was able to acquire citizenship via DNA, but this was probably back even before 2013. Back when he was doing Grey's Anatomy, when he acquired his. So I want to say 2019, a group of African Americans who use African ancestry to trace their DNA back to Sierra Leone, they were given citizenship, right? But now, and then I think another group came. That was early 2019, like spring 2019. Then another group came, I want to say winter of 2019, did the same thing, but I think their process was put on hold. And then they were supposed to be granted their citizenship officially in spring of 2020. But because of COVID, it got shut down. So, or it didn't happen. It got had to be rescheduled or delayed. So the group from the winter of 2019 and other African Americans who I guess discovered or found out their DNA or that they were connected to one of the tribes of Sierra Leone. Mm-hmm. We all had our ceremony this month, January 5th. And so basically, once you find out your results, there is a department in the government of Sierra Leone called Monuments and Relics. You send your paperwork there, and then I guess they kind of guide you through the next steps as far as what to do. So AfricanAncestry.com, paternal line, get those two sides tested. If one of them come back from one of the tribes in Sierra Leone, you take that paperwork. In fact, I think here's my paperwork right here, I think. Hold on. No, that's not it. Yeah, you take that paperwork, then you submit it to Monuments and Relics in Sierra Leone, Department of the Government, and then go from there.
All right. So, Brother Dynas, you've done an excellent job. And I know you're very busy because you host almost a daily show, sometimes twice on your channel. So, in the last interview that we did, it was really, really good. We got a lot of views. Tell some people that are looking at possibly, coming to your platform, what would they expect on the Search for Uhuru YouTube channel?
Like I said, we're building a bridge between the diaspora and Africa. That's what we're doing. So we discuss opportunities in Africa for the diaspora, culture. I'm primarily focused on the culture, and really, because we've been taught to demonize a lot of what we are, of who we are when it comes to our culture. So I wanted to set the record straight on our indigenous culture when it comes to religion, and whatnot. So really focused on the culture, really focused on bridging that gap between the diaspora and Africa, having those conversations between the diaspora and Africa where we could really focus on common ground and how we can build and contribute to Africa. Because at the end of the day, I don't care if you call yourself Jamaican, Black American, FBA, ADOS, Brazilian, Africa is your birthright. And with that being said, it's our job to see that Africa flourishes. And then also too, even though Africa is our birthright, as President Julius Maada Bio said, my president of Sierra Leone, Africa is the final frontier and everybody wants a piece of it. So don't think that your birthright won't be snatched if you don't go and claim it. So
I definitely agree with that. And brother, I want to thank you personally for making me realize that, because my life has changed tremendously since I had. It took me about almost 100 years, but
Right.
my life has changed tremendously by the new family that I was able to adopt, and they have really helped elevate my life, and vice versa theirs. They've helped me achieve some things that, I've never thought I would be able to achieve on this platform. And it was because of you and my boy Wody Maya. He was the one that you gave me the initial push, and he kind of gave me another push. And so I want to thank you personally for being a upstanding brother from our city of Sacramento, and really influencing the Pan-African space. I wouldn't have this platform right now that we're on if it not have been for you inspiring me to take my first trip. When you was saying Negroes will go everywhere, Paris and London and Brazil, and when you said that, I said, man, he's talking to me. I know he's not talking to me, but it made me want to get out and do something. And I want to encourage all the brothers and sisters that take the test, right? If you can, prove that you have Sierra Leonean citizenship, act on it, because people will take what is yours. It's good to get into the continent. Now you're able to have more opportunities. You're able to do more things and collaborate, because there's a lot of people that are intelligent on the continent of Africa. You can help each other with that resource. So if you can't, as all of us blacks, I should be able to benefit off of your your intelligence, and vice versa, you off mine. So let's get involved. Let's get involved and work with the continent, work with the black community and diaspora, work with the black community inside of Africa, and let's help each other achieve some great things, because together we can do some great things. And brother Dynas, you're doing an excellent job. Any last words, brother?
No, just just hit me up. Go to dynastymirror.com. Send me a message. Follow me on Search for Uhuru here on, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel, Search for Uhuru. And O'Shea, thank you for having me on. And you could go ahead and finish that collard green sandwich that you were eating before you came on. So thank you, O'Shea, for putting down that collard green sandwich. Because I know you got to put it back in the oven, and nobody wants a soggy collard green sandwich. Or put it in the microwave and warm it back up. So you about to eat a soggy collard green sandwich. So thank you for sacrificing just your collard green sandwiches for me, O'Shea. It really means a lot.
Brother, it was funny, brother. So anyways, let me get him off of here, guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys. Sacramento Connection coming back again. And as you know, keep it real, King Ghana forever. I'm out.